for the presidency, which I think is probably as much of a strain as anything on a family life. So there we are.
Oh, and here we have the presidential family. That's the President and Mrs. Obama and Sasha and Malia. That's Malia with the President now. And, no, sorry, that's Sasha. This is the younger one, Sasha. Keep getting them mixed up. Natasha.
And they're both so grown up.
Yeah, aren't they though, yeah. And there's Mary Peters, I haven't seen the face on. No, it's not. I do beg your pardon. I was assuming that she would be met by the Lord Lieutenant of Belfast, Mary Peters. Clearly not. A little bit of light conversation there. Get out of the cold. It's quite warm, Catherine, in the States at the moment, isn't it?
It was in the 90s last week in Washington, but we are sure that a trip abroad for the family together is really a historic occasion. Wonderful.
Get out of the cold. Let them out of the cold. Welcoming party there, the Arlene Foster and Michelle O'Neill, the executive ministers. Michelle O'Neill and Arlene Foster, of course. And I'm just wondering if that'll be Brian Kingston, High Sheriff of Belfast, and his wife greeting the first ones to greet the presidential party.
Who made the very most of her moment in the...
Sorry,
who made the very most of her moment at the microphone and chatted the first family down for rather longer than...
I always wonder what are they saying. It's always like this. Well, Michelle is saying.
Well, the banter is so nice. I know that when Michelle Obama was in England, she was criticized a bit for putting hands on the Queen, but she, I'm sure, thought of her as a quite frail. Although we know she's very tough, but she was just
yes, it was an interesting moment.
Being her gracious self, and there was quite a bit of flack in the press about about
she's a tall woman as well, isn't she? Yes. Tall women, I think, try to be protective and.
Yeah, they look remarkably relaxed. I never look as relaxed as that when I got off a transatlantic flight.
But you don't have all that. You don't have all that kept in the nose of the plane.
The girls are looking very J. Crew, which Mrs. Obama has let her two daughters find their own style and follow her as a style icon.
J. Crew being an outfitter, for those who may not be familiar with the term, Catherine, an American outfitter. Yeah.
No, I think the students I get are quite stylish, and it's going global. We're very local here, but we go global, and I think knowing style can be very international, and certainly the wattage those girls can throw with their smiles can match their parents in a way.
No one's even looking at the president. They're all concentrating on the two girls and Michelle. Yeah. There you go. Yes.
Oh, girls.
The two Michelles. Yes, I have a few relaxed moments, because the rest of the day will be frenetic, of course, I mean, as it always is in these situations. And I suppose the waterfront is a nice interlude for the President and his family before the serious business, for him at least, begins at Enniskillen this afternoon. A lot of hard talking to be done.
Well-shod girls. Look at those shoes.
Just J. Crew do shoes too?
Oh, I just think it's so marvelous. So when I was over in the States during the inauguration, the headlines were full of Michelle's new haircut. So indeed, we do have these kinds of
There's a lot of touchy-feely going on here. You notice this? It's just nice to see. I give the girls a bit of, I guess, they very seldom appear on the world stage, of course. They've been very protected, intentionally so, from all of this. So this is, I suppose, a big moment for them. And there's the straight on to Marine One, which will...
Well, the Clinton daughter was well protected, and now she's a member of the press,
Wow.
so you see.
Well, she suffered quite a lot, of course, through her childhood, I think. For not only family reasons, but also
from the press.
From the press, yeah, she got quite a hard time. We will all remember that. The many members of the White House press corps, of course, we didn't see them getting off the plane. They all get off at the back steps, of course.
And the Secret Service men, like Reservoir Dogs,
Yeah.
fanning out over
Always.
the concourse.
Always. Let's nip back quickly to Enniskillen and Mark Davenport. Mark.
Noel, we were just watching those pictures there from International Airport. Obviously, I think they're now going to do a helicopter transfer into town. I was making the point to somebody that I think the White House had let it be known that Sasha had a dance recital before she got on the plane. So it's been quite a shortish journey for them. I think they would have set off from Andrews Air Force Base at about 3:30 local time. So they're probably fairly tired at the moment, but it's going to be obviously quite an event, I think, for the girls as well. He'll probably appear at the Waterfront Hall alongside all those young people, and Michelle Obama, who'll be making the introduction, the opening address before her husband takes to the stage.
You seem to be getting a lot better weather down in the lakes than they are at the International Airport anyway, Mark. That bodes well for whatever tourist potential will emanate from this G8.
Yeah, I mean, Enniskillen has been looking pretty good. It's overcast, but certainly not as bad as the weather that we're seeing there on the screens at Aldergrove. So if it stays this way, I think the International Press Corps will be pretty impressed. Certainly in terms of visits from US dignitaries, what's happening right now, you would contrast with the last visit by the Secretary of State Hillary Clinton when she arrived here, really in the teeth of the flag dispute involving the Stormont parties, and that was quite a difficult farewell visit for her. You might remember that she ended up visiting Naomi Long, who at that stage was facing a death threat. So instead, I think when the President gets to speak in the Waterfront Hall, he'll be making the most of the fact that the DUP and Sinn Féin got their act together in terms of a shared future and made that announcement. So he will be very much accentuating the positive. And whilst the role of the US is probably rather less than would have been the situation under the Clinton administration, it's nevertheless significant that our local politicians decided to get their act together in time for this visit, in time for the G8, when they knew that the global spotlight would be upon them.
Okay, Mark, thank you. Let's nip straight back over to the Waterfront Hall. And Tara. Hi, Tara.
Hi, Noel. Well, something about a waterfront bubble now. Everything has been locked down. From 7 o'clock this morning, there were queues of people, mostly young people, mostly school children from schools right across Northern Ireland, going through security, and it literally took an hour and a half to get everybody through, standing out in pretty miserable, drizzly conditions, it has to be said. Now, just looking across, you can't see from where I am, but just outside the High Court in Belfast, a small crowd has gathered. I just wonder if there's a bit of wishful thinking going on there, that they might catch a glimpse of the President and his wife when they arrive, or perhaps when they leave. But it isn't on the itinerary, any sort of walkabout or handshaking, but certainly some people in Belfast have thought it might be worth coming down and having a look. But on to the children. It's no accident, of course, that President Obama is coming to talk to young people. He's probably going to try to inspire them, try and say that they're the future, obviously. But we were talking to some of them as they came in, and our education correspondent Maggie Taggart has this report.
The crowds are waiting outside the waterfront. Nobody's got in yet, but I've managed to find some of the people who are at the top of the queue waiting to get through the security barriers. Tell me who you are and why you've been allowed to come here.
Jamie Boyle from Taylor College. My school is very heavily involved with the whole politics thing, and I was doing well